Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place in the world during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And it seems that the previous 24 hours were the craziest 24 hours probably even in this century. So let's discuss everything in details, and let's start with the conflict on the territory of Ukraine. I would like to remind you that the Russians yesterday carried out the biggest attack, probably, not probably, but the biggest attack of the 2026, and probably one of the biggest attacks since the beginning of the special military operation. The Russians used 666 drones and in the missiles together, but the most important thing is not even the number of missiles and drones that the Russians used. The most important thing is that for the first time since the beginning of the conflict, the NATO countries decided to use their Eurofighters Typhoon aircrafts to bring down Russian drones over the southwestern part of Odessa region. As of now, neither the Russians nor the Ukrainians nor the NATO organization made any comments on this matter. Probably both the Russians and NATO are talking about this behind the doors, trying to understand what is going to happen next. But one thing is clear, that Russians most likely will make an answer the next time. As for the current situation, during the previous 12 hours we received additional updates. The Russians continued attacking the territory of Ukraine with drones, and the sources are saying that overnight the Russians used 144 drones to attack the territory of Ukraine, and we received lots of videos on this matter. We received videos not just about the previous night's attack, but we also received lots of videos, fresh videos from the previous attack, the biggest one with 666 drones and missiles together. And first, let's talk about the city of Dnipro. We have lots of updates. The Russians, during these 36 hours, probably correct to say, attacked not just the city of Dnipro, but the settlement of Kamyanske to the northwest of the city of Dnipro. And here we can see how the Russians attacked a mobile fire point of the armed forces of Ukraine, which is located in the area of this substation. The Russians attacked this mobile fire point with drones, and as a result of attack, as you can see, this stronghold of the armed forces of Ukraine was completely destroyed. As for the city of Dnipro, we received more details about targets that the Russians destroyed. Here we have a video of the gas station that the Russians attacked, and here we can see exactly the moments when the Russians attacked this gas station. We can see a very heavy explosion, as you can see. This is how everything started yesterday for the city of Dnipro. Here we have a video of a very big fire. According to this video, this is one of the oil bases that was destroyed yesterday by Russians. As you can see, the Ukrainians still haven't managed to stabilize the situation. The sources are saying that special services and special forces are trying to remove the consequences of this attack, but as of now it's still very difficult to do. Another important area is the territory in front of the Pridniprovska power station. The sources are saying that the Russians attacked this warehouse or some industrial zone. Very big smoke over this territory was recorded later, and the Russians attacked a warehouse in the northern parts of the settlement of Dnipro, and here we can see the consequences of attack. Something like a logistic hub was destroyed by Russians as a result of attack. Once again, yesterday's attack was the biggest attack this year. 666 drones and missiles were used altogether. Now let's move further. Furthermore, during the previous night, the Russians attacked the city of Odessa. Here we can see videos and pictures of consequences of attack. Another logistic hub was destroyed. Lots of trucks were damaged. Some warehouses and ammo depots were destroyed in the southern parts of the Odessa agglomeration. Furthermore, several explosions were reported on the territory of the settlement of Petropavlovka. Here we can see a Russian drone that was attacking some target on the territory of the settlement itself. A very big explosion reported, and the Russians attacked some positions of the armed forces of Ukraine in the area of Pagonovka. But as for this video, the Russians were using drones. The Russians attacked this artillery system with Lancet drone, and here we can see how the Russians first recorded the position of this artillery system and and then the Russians destroy it. And lots of explosions and consequences of attacks were recorded on the church of the city of Slaviansk. In this video we can see the central part of the settlement, and we can see ruins from one and another side of the road in this area. So the Russians were attacking the territory of Ukraine significantly during the previous 24 hours, and the sources are saying that those attacks were something like retaliatory strikes on the Ukraine attack that took place several days ago in the area of the city of Tuapse. And as for the settlement of Tuapse, we have a satellite picture, this one where we can see the consequences of attack. In this picture, we can see that's probably up to 70% of these Tuapse refinery or these oil bases or oil refineries were completely damaged and destroyed. So this attack that was carried out by the Ukrainians several days ago made significant damage to this object of energy infrastructure, and the most important, to this object of export infrastructure of the Russian Federation. And this is the reason why the Russians were bombing so hard the state of Ukraine during the previous 36 hours. The Ukrainians during the previous night also attacked the territory of the Russian Federation with a significant number of drones, and this is the picture that was published by pro-Ukrainian sources. And according to this picture, the Ukrainians during the night used approximately 320 drones to attack deep inside of the territory of the Russian Federation. The Minister of Defense of Russia partially confirmed this information. They stated that this morning between 7 and 9 a.m. they destroyed 49 Ukrainian drones. Overnight, the Russians destroyed 203 Ukrainian drones, and in the evening, the Russians destroyed 22 Ukrainian drones. So as you can see, there is a small gap, probably 30-40 drones, which means that probably some of the drones of the armed forces of Ukraine managed to deal damage. And we have some updates on this matter. The Ukrainians, according to information we have, attacked the city of Belgorod, but as you can see, multi-story building was attacked, but it seems that maybe the Russians destroyed the drone, and the drone basically fell on the roof of this building. Probably something like this happened. And we received videos and updates from the city of Yaroslavl, which is located behind the capital of the Russian Federation, Moscow city. We have updates that the Ukrainians during the previous night attacked the Yaroslav oil refinery, and this picture was published by local sources. So another oil refinery on the territory of Russia was damaged significantly, and we have a video of how the Russians using air defense forces were trying to destroy the Ukrainian drones over the city of Yaroslavl, but it seems that the air defense haven't managed to destroy every single drone, and some of them attacked the Yaroslavl oil refinery. And all these things are happening at the same time when several Western experts stated that the Russian Federation is ready to carry out another massive attack using strategic aviation, using cruise missiles, using drones, and so on. So it seems that before the beginning of May's holidays, the Russians will attack the territory once again using hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles, which is going to happen within the next 4 days, something like this. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground. We have important changes, and first let's discuss the changes. First of all, this Sumy direction, the Russians improved their positions on the territory of the settlement of Kondratovka. But as you can see, this is the end of the 25th of April, this is the 26th of April. As you can see, we colored basically the gray zone and contested area under complete Russian control, and we have a video where we can see how Ukrainians were attacking Russians in this part of the settlement. So based on this video, we came to the conclusion that the Russians improve their positions and that the Russians continue their offensive operation with the purpose to re-establish complete control over this settlement. As for the Volchansk direction, during the previous night nothing was recorded. The same situation about the Kupiansk direction. Now let's talk about the Slaviansk direction. Here we have lots of very important changes, and pro-Russian sources are stated that during the previous days the Russians managed to improve their positions significantly on the Ukrainian side of Seversky Donetsk-Donbass Canal, and today we have additional changes in this area. So currently we have the biggest number of changes right exactly from this area, and it seems that this is something like spike unexpectedly for Ukrainians. So this is the situation by the end of the 21st of April, and this is how the map has been adjusted since the 21st of April of 2026. And currently the Russians established complete control over the Seversky Donetsk-Donbass canal between the bridge along canal in the area of MO3 road and the settlement of Markovo-Novomarkovo. So the length of this foothold on the Ukrainian side of Seversky Donetsk-Donbass canal is already around 12 kilometers, and this is enough to begin an offensive operation in the western direction. Furthermore, several very reliable pro-Russian sources stated that the Russians managed to improve their position significantly between the villages of Malinovka and Tikhonovka. So this is the article that was published by the soldier who is located in this area. He is saying that during the previous several days, the Russians managed to improve their positions in this area. There are also significant successes in the Kramatorsk sector. The offensive is underway on Tikhonovka-Malinovka, and in recent days a large number of Ukraine armed forces shelters have been exposed and destroyed. So the villages of Malinovka and Tikhonovka are located right exactly in front of the positions along the Seversky Donetsk-Donbass canal that the Russians have captured recently. So these are the villages, and the pro-Russian sources are saying that the Russians continue offensive operation on the Ukrainian side of canal with the purpose to establish or probably even to expand the Russian foothold on the Ukrainian side of canal, with the purpose then to attack in the direction of the city of Kramatorsk probably, or at least to get as close as possible to the city with the purpose to establish complete fire control over the main logistic lines. So this is something that the Ukrainians didn't expect most of all, because we see that the Russians are moving in the most fortified area in front of Kramatorsk much faster than the Russians are moving between the villages of Alexandrovka, Nikolaevka and Krivoluka, where also the Russians continue offensive operation. So a very interesting situation. Most likely in coming days we will receive additional changes. The city of Kostiantynivka, the Russians improved their positions in the southwestern parts of the settlement. These are the changes on the ground between the previous 2 days. This is the end of the 24th. This is the beginning of 25th. The Russians improved their positions, and the Russians captured lots of big buildings in this area where they will be able to concentrate forces before moving further. We have a video published by pro-Ukrainian sources, and here we can see how Ukrainians were attacking with FPV drone the edge positions of the armed forces of the Russian Federation in this area. So the Russians continue offensive operation at least from 3 directions: from the southwestern direction, from the central direction, and from the eastern direction. The Russians continue offensive operation, and as of the beginning of the 26th of April of 2026, the Russians have captured probably up to maybe 15 or 20% of the city of Kostiantynivka, and they continue, which is the most important thing. As for the Zaporozhye direction, during the previous 12 hours, we received just a video from the area of the settlement of Novogrigorovka. The Russians were attacking edge positions of the armed forces of Ukraine, or the Russians managed to discover a sabotage and reconnaissance group of the armed forces of Ukraine that managed to get this line, and the Russians were attacking them with FPV drones. So these are the changes on the ground. So we came to the conclusion based on this video that probably 3 lines to the north is either under complete Ukraine control, or at least the area with significant infiltration process from the Ukrainian side. As for the Orekhov itself, we haven't received almost anything overnight. The only video was published by pro-Ukrainian sources. The Ukrainians, as a result of reconnaissance operation, managed to discover a base of the armed forces of the Russian Federation on the territory of the city of Pologi, and then the Ukrainians attacked this settlement with aviation, and part of building was completely destroyed. So the Ukrainians are trying to attack the logistics of the armed forces of Ukraine, of the Russian Federation, trying not to allow them to concentrate forces before moving further in the direction of the cities of Orekhov, Zaporozhye, Mala, Tersa, and so on. We have covered most of the updates regarding the conflict on the territory of Ukraine. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation with Europe and with Kaliningrad. Today we received a very important update that was published by several sources. Today, according to information we have, a new military military training ground will be built in Lithuania near Belarus in the Kaliningrad region and the Kaliningrad region. On April 23, 2026, the Lithuanian Seimas passed a law authorizing the creation of Kapčiamiestis military training ground in the Suvalki corridor. It will be located in the Ladizhan district near the village of Kapčiamiestis. So the sources are saying that NATO organization, the NATO and Lithuania, with the help of NATO organizations and the NATO allies, are going to create a biggest military polygon in this area, which is located right along the shortest line between the Republic of Belarus and Kaliningrad. The Lithuanians are planning to, not just the Lithuanians, but the NATO organization is going to significantly intensify and to increase the defense capabilities of this part, and this is something like the beginning of a possible operation in the future about the total and complete blockade of the Kaliningrad region, because we see now the NATO countries are trying to increase the defenses of the Suvalki corridor significantly, because they understand that if something happens between Russia and between NATO organization, of course, first of all, the NATO organization will take this Kaliningrad region under complete blockade, and the only way and the only shortest way for Russia to unblock this situation is to move through the Suvalki corridor. So this is the shortest way between the territories under control that are under control of allies of Russia and the territory of Russia itself. So we are at the beginning of this process. Of course, it will take time before everything for Kaliningrad blockade is ready, but this is already the process that has started. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation in Mali. During the previous 48 hours, we received lots of very important updates from this area. According to information we have, the terrorists and separatists began offensive operation yesterday in the morning, probably from the most northern parts of the state. So they were moving through these territories, and as a result of a first wave of attack, the separatists and terrorists managed to establish complete control or to enter different towns and cities of the state of Mali. And I would like to remind you that the state of Mali is an ally of the Russian Federation. The state of Mali has their own forces, but they also have forces of PMC Wagner. And during the first hours, the separatists managed to establish even complete control, it seems, over the settlement, which is located in the most northeastern parts of Mali, the state of Kidal, the city of Kidal. There is a former United Nations base in the southeastern parts of the city, and right after the clashes began, the Russian forces and the Mali-Gorian forces entered the base, and they basically digged in deeper. And while the separatists established complete control over this settlement of Kidal, and also they raised their flag in this area. We have lots of updates from this area of how clashes were taking place through the city, but it seems that by the beginning of the 26th of April of 2026, no doubts that the city of Kidal was under complete control of separatists. And later the separatists issued a warning or issued a proposal to the Russians that went to the PMC Wagner that was located in the southeastern part in this base to surrender, not to take part, not to participate in the local conflict of the state of Mali, and the Russians began the negotiation process of withdrawing their troops from this encircled base. And later we received the video where, according to information we have, allegedly the Russians and the PMC Wagner and the Mali forces were retreating from the settlement of Kidal in the southwestern direction. So this is a very important situation, because of course this convoy could be ambushed on the way to the main positions of the Mali government forces. Furthermore, we started receiving different updates on the control meta. Another two cities where clashes were recorded is the settlement of Gao, which is located almost in the central part of Mali, but the sources are saying that by the morning of the 26th of April, the Mali forces and PMC Wagner managed to recapture this city. Furthermore, the clashes were recorded on the territory of the settlement of Severe. There were also very heavy clashes, and we can see lots of forces of separatists separatists that were entering the settlement, but later we received the report that PMC Wagner and the Mali government forces managed to recapture the settlement of Simeria under complete control. Furthermore, the clashes were recorded in the southwestern parts and in the area of the capital of Mali in Bamako, but the PMC Wagner forces and Mali government forces managed to recapture the settlement completely. So we can say that somewhere by the beginning of the 26th of April of 2026, the state of Mali was divided in two parts, the southwestern and the northeastern, and the southwestern probably is already under complete or partial or almost complete control of the Russians, PMC Wagner forces, and the Mali government forces, and it seems that the northeastern parts of the state is already under the complete control of the separatists. Several sources are stated that Algeria was took place in the preparation of this Mali offensive operation, and probably France is also has some connections to the situation. Anyway, let's keep an eye on this area because this is a very important situation right now. Now let's talk about the Middle East, where the negotiation process completely failed in Pakistan. According to information we have, the Minister of Defense of Iran, Arakchi, left Pakistan after presenting a list of demands to Pakistani mediators. The Pakistani mediators will meet with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. This is the report that was published right after we received an update that Arakchi left the state of Pakistan. But later we received the report that the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, cancelled a trip of Witkoff and Kushner to the Pakistan, so which means that no talks are going to take place. We received lots of updates about the US and about Iran during the previous nights, and everything ended with another assassination attempt that took place during the night. In this video we can see how the Secret Service agents first evacuated J.D. Vance, not the President of the United States of America, during the shooting. Only after some time they did return for the US President, who tripped and fell on the way. So this is the situation, and we see, and of course we have lots of statements, lots of analysis about the situation, and some sources are saying that this is the way how somebody is trying to increase ratings of the 47th President of the United States of America, while the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman still continue being blocked by the Iranian side and by the US authorities. During the previous day we received lots of videos and updates published by both sides about the situation in this area. We have lots of pictures from the US side, we have lots of updates about tankers that were arrested or turned back, so which means that the situation still remains tense. Furthermore, we see that most likely we won't see any peace in this area in coming days, because according to information we have, it seems that the Israeli side is about to restart their buffer zone operation in to the south of the river Litani. At least the Netanyahu has ordered the Israeli Defense Forces to strike Hezbollah targets in Lebanon forcefully, and according to information we have, during the previous days the Israeli Defense Forces managed to improve their positions in the buffer zone operation, and these are the changes on the ground. According to these changes, the Israelis managed to establish complete control over the state city by the name of Binj Ba'il. Furthermore, they managed to improve their positions further in the direction of the settlement of Ayanata. Furthermore, the sources reported that the Israeli forces were recorded at the settlement of At Tiri. According to information we have, the changes were also recorded in the area of north of Ait Tauron, and the sources reported that the Israeli Defense Forces began advancing in the western direction towards the settlement of Chankra. So these are the changes on the ground between the dates, and furthermore the sources are saying that the Israeli Defense Forces also entered the city of Hiam. And from this perspective we see that when talking about the river of Litani as a target for Israeli Defense Forces, we can say that the Israeli Defense Forces have completed the buffer zone operation as of now by the 20% or something like this, which means that they still need up to 4 or 5 months to finish this situation. But 4 or 5 months, despite that, these are lots of days. We understand that sooner or later these days will finish and this operation will be completed as well. And that's it for the short video. The Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.